Shalom and welcome to the first of a two-part video on Psalm 121 in Hebrew. And again, as I've mentioned with some of my other videos, we are looking at it in Hebrew, but we don't necessarily assume knowledge of Hebrew. You can benefit from it even if you don't know any Hebrew, but again, I recommend the series of graded lessons that I prepared on Hebrew so that you can benefit from it even more. So, let's get into it. Psalm 121. Shir Lamareloth. Esa Renai El Heharim. Me'ayin Yavo Rezri. Rezri Me'rim Yahweh. Rose Shamayim Wa'aretz. So Shir is song. Lamareloth, of ascents or of going up. So la, or here with the vowel a means of. In this case, means of. Sometimes it can mean to, and the ma is often used, as I've mentioned before, to make a noun out of a verb. So here's the basic verb which talks about going up, and the oth is a plural ending. So that's why it's sometimes called a psalm of ascents, going up. Now also hidden in here is the H, the definite article. So it's the song of the goings up. The H has disappeared and the vowel just goes with this. So we could translate it literally, word for word. It would be a song of the ascents. And this title is used for Psalms 120 to 134. We don't know exactly what it means. One suggestion is that people recited these psalms as they walked to Jerusalem to celebrate festivals. You always went up to Jerusalem, even though it wasn't actually the highest spot in Judea. And it seems that there were 2 or 3 speakers. The NET Bible assumes that speaker 1 talks in verses 1 and 2, and speaker 2 responds in verse 3, and then speaker 3 comes in with verses 4 to 8. Okay, so Esa, this is meaning I lift up. Nasa is the root. I use a mnemonic to help me to remember. NASA, the American Space Organization, which it works up in space. So the Hebrew verb nasa means to lift up. No real connection, of course, but it's just a way to help me remember. Renai, my eyes, el, to the mountains. So this is a plural ending, and that's the. Notice the vowel under the has changed. It's often an a or an a, but here it's an e. It's just changed to differentiate it from the vowel that comes under this word mountains. Me is from where. Yavo, it comes. Rezri, help my. The King James Version took this as a statement. I lift my eyes to the mountains from where my help, from whence. In other words, from there. My help comes from there. But modern translations take it as a question. From where? Question mark. From where does my help come? Notice that ancient manuscripts had no punctuation, so we don't know from punctuation if it's a question or not. But of course, when the psalmist is talking about lifting his eyes up to the hills, he's looking heavenward. Now, just to comment on this word help. We read the name Ebenezer, which is found in where I made a note. 1 Samuel 7. Ebenezer means stone of help. The prophet Samuel set it up to commemorate victories over the Philistines. So you read about this in 1 Samuel 7. And it later became a name, Ebenezer. Well, Ebenezer Scrooge in Dickens' Christmas Carol. So, Rezri, again, Mehim, again this word me, from, with, Yahweh. Rose Shamayim Wa'aretz. Maker. Now this is not the word used in Genesis 1, where the word for create is bara. The special word for create, but here we just have the normal word for make, and it's a participle, so it becomes maker. Maker of heaven and earth. And in Genesis 1 we had articles with both of them, the heavens and the earth, but here, as often happens in poetry, the article drops out and we just have the maker of heaven and earth. So whether or not you thought this was a question, it's pretty definite and emphatic here. My help comes from Yahweh, and He is the maker of heaven and earth. Okay, so that's verse 1 and 2. Al Yiten Lumot Raglecha Al Yanum Shomerecha. Verse 3, verse 4. Hine Lo Yanum Lo Yishan Shomer Yisrael. So this is Al, meaning not, and the next verse he uses Lo, the other word for not. But this Al here means, it indicates it's a wish or prayer to be answered by the ringing confidence of verse 4 and all that follows, says Kidna. So again, Nathan is the root form of the verb from which we get Nathan. The verb has quite a range of meaning. We had it meaning give fruit, that was in Psalm 1. But here it means let or allow. The particular form of the verb here could be saying, He will not let your foot slip, or may He not let your foot slip. Lamot, again as with Lamarloth, in the heading of the psalm, there is an H in there, but it merges with the La. So, to the moving. He will not let to the moving. Reglecha, foot, your. To the moving. So this is a noun, and it's so probably best translate, He will not let your foot slip. Notice how these two clauses are neatly parallel, even though the raglecha, which ends the first clause, is the object of the clause, and the shomrecha, which ends the second clause, is the subject of the clause. This is a typical pattern in parallelism, with some things the same and some things changed. So al yanum, he will not sleep. He, just the same as this is he. Shomrecha, this word is used 6 times in the psalm. Your guardian, your keeper. And the word sleep is sometimes used to mean inactivity. I met this in Vanuatu languages too. So here we could possibly translate as, your guardian won't sit back and do nothing. He will act. Hine, so the first approximation translation of hine is behold, But Leslie Allen in the Word Biblical Commentary translates it as of course, and says its function is to draw attention to a fact on which a conclusion is based. The one who looks after Israel, God's people, is on duty 24/7. He will not sleep, and here's another word, he will not slumber. It's often translated the guardian of Israel, Yisrael. The person who looks after Israel, that is God's people, is on duty 24/7.